What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Joe Dobany and I'm an electrical engineer. And today is another opportunity to be better today than we were yesterday. So you're watching this video because you want to be an electrical engineer. Either A, you're in college, working and trying to complete your degree, or you already completed your degree and you just can't find a job. Or three, you don't have an electrical engineering degree. Maybe you're in a field that's similar or close to it and you're trying to see, is it possible for you to become an electrical engineer and land that role? If you want to make becoming an electrical engineer a reality, I highly recommend you to watch the very end of this video so you can get all the tips and benefits that will help you land your first electrical engineering role. Becoming an electrical engineer is not easy at all. Although I'm gonna give you all these tips, it still takes a lot of tremendous work from you as an individual to make it a reality. You don't have to be the smartest person in becoming an electrical engineer. You just gotta be strategic and persistent in how you maneuver so that you can land your very first role. Now let's get into it. So the first step is to actually take a look at the inventory that you already carry. What skills do you already have developed that can help you land your first electrical engineering role? You need to ask yourself, what do I bring to the table? Have you built PCs? Have you opened up your computer, your radio, and fixed the PCBs? Have you worked on PCBs before? Are you an electrician? If so, these little things that directly correlate with electrical engineering work are things you gotta pay attention to if you already have that in your inventory. Also, another thing you wanna think about is, do you already have a clearance of any sort from a different field? I know there's a lot of people who joined the military who come out with clearances, or you worked with a different company and you already have a clearance. You can use this to your advantage if you're trying to land an electrical engineering role. Yes, if you don't have the degree itself, you have to accept the fate that you might receive less pay because you don't have the degree. But once you're in, you could always prove yourself and or leverage these companies to finish your degree and then get the pay you deserve. So if you do have a security clearance, that's a big deal. Companies pay thousands of dollars for their new employee to get a clearance. So if you already have it, it could definitely tip the scale, especially if you kill the interview and they know that you know your stuff. It can give you a high chance of getting hired even if you don't have the degree yet. So your next step, right? You know your position, whether you have a degree, you don't, or you're in school still. The next step you need to take to land your first role is you need to start self-studying and start developing projects. This is the most important part of this. I don't care what you did in the past, but going forward, you want to make sure that you're very strategic. And the number one strategic move you can do is making the correct projects for whatever job you're trying to obtain. All right. And for this one, I'm going to show it to you raw. I'm just going to show you how it looks like if I were in your shoes and I wanted to apply for a position and I didn't have any experience at all. And in my shoes, I already got my degree behind me. And if you already have your degree, it makes it easier. But even if you don't, follow this same method. So right here, we're going to look at SpaceX. So let's say you want to work at SpaceX on the Starlink project. This right here, they have antenna engineer, right? So they'll tell you about SpaceX, what they do, whatever. That's not what's important here. What's important is, right, look at what they are looking for, right? Basic qualifications. For this specific job, you do require a bachelor's degree. And I understand that SpaceX, being a bigger company, they have more eyes on them. They want to take less risks. So for this qualification, it says a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering or other engineering discipline. So usually whenever you look at other engineering discipline, it can be any engineering because some people can start off in one field and finish in another. It's completely normal. Just because you don't have an electrical engineering degree, and let's say you have a mechanical or chemical, it doesn't mean you can't work on electrical engineering things. It's asking 1 year of experience with antennas or communication systems, internships, whatever. 1 year of experience with radio test equipment, spectrum analyzers, and 1 year experience of programming experience in Python, C#, C++, or MATLAB. So if you're enjoying this video and you're getting a lot of benefits out of this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe button. It helps the channel tremendously. And as a thank you for hitting the like button, here's a picture of a cow. And now let's get back into the video. You're looking at this, you're asking me, why is Joe Dobany showing me this right now? I just want a job. give it to me, I'll work, I'll make millions of dollars. The reason why I'm showing you this is because the company, the job posting itself will give you the secret sauce to what project you need to bring to the table. Right here, they're telling you, you need a project that includes this. You either have an experience at a job or go ahead, make a project that when you show up to the interview, you can brief us why it meets these basic qualifications, right? And there's preferred skills, but chances are, if they're looking for somebody with only 1 year of experience, they're not expecting you to have a master's degree or a PhD. Usually, if they're looking for somebody with a master's degree or a PhD, they will be looking at a minimum of 3 or plus years of experience. Now you've learned what's the basic qualifications, let's go ahead and move on to what you need to do. First steps first, come to YouTube, see if there's any projects on here. I typed in create your own antenna communication systems project. You can travel, look along, and see all the different projects that people do and make your decision which one do you think you can attempt to put on your resume. Now let's take it a step further. If you really wanted a project to wow your employers, where could you find these amazing projects? There's one step that I highly always recommend new engineers to follow. Go to MIT OpenCourseware. When you go to this website, they have tons and tons and tons of resources, free courses, free lectures. You don't have to get admitted to MIT. You don't need to be a student enrolled there. They offer it for free. So you have no excuse to show up to the interviewing stage and you have no product to present. Yes, it's going to take time, but you need to invest in yourself so that the companies can invest in you. If you can't even invest in yourself and put some time apart so for you to create these projects, why should they hire you? So here I typed in transmit and receive antennas integrated with radar electronics. Now, if you're looking back at this job application, this fits exactly in what they're looking for, antennas or communication systems, right? And even if you look at the preferred skills, they really want you to understand the RF, radio performance, microwave frequencies. They really want you to understand that. So you need a project that is MIT level that you can show to the employer. And here is what we're going to look at. Build a small radar system capable of sensing range, Doppler, and synthetic aperture radar imaging. They have other options, right? But for the most part, you and I can complete this. It might cost you around $500 with trial and error. It's possible. So let's go ahead and open it in a new tab. Now we're here. It tells you the course description. Hey, are you interested in building and testing your own image radar system? MIT Lincoln Laboratory offers this 3-week course in design, fabrication, and test of a laptop-based radar sensing capable of measuring Doppler range and forming synthetic aperture radar images. By you just completing this project, you will put yourself, I don't know, hundreds of feet in front of brand new graduates who don't have a project tailored to Starlink's description. So you have the syllabus here. It shows you that, hey, they recommend 5 sessions over 3 weeks, right? Participants are expected to supply their own laptop, MATLAB. If you're watching this video, you probably already have both. MATLAB is free. You don't have to be a radar engineer, but it helps knowing any of these. So next, where you want to go is the lecture notes. There used to be lecture slides for this radar basics, but they no longer have it. So you need to do your own due diligence to go back on OpenCourseware and find that specific slides, or if another professor offers it. So what you're gonna do, let's open up the first one, antenna design, PDF 1.6. Look at this, look at this. You have your PDF, right? And it gives you the introduction, exactly what you're doing, and explaining how antennas work. So whether you had experience in antennas or not, you will learn to understand this, right? You're gonna go through all this. He's pretty much giving you a background on what's going on here. And currently at my company, I work on RF and radar, and a lot of this stuff that's in here, they had to train us on it when we first got to the company. Now imagine if I had mastered all this before I was at my current company. So it's showing you, hey, you're gonna use this type of bean can to create your waveguide antenna. So you go through all this, now you're ready. At the end of it, it should look something like this. Now let me see if I can zoom in for y'all, all right? So this is how it's supposed to look like at the end of it. You're gonna have a complete transmit and receive antenna integrated with radar electronics. Now, if it's up to me, I would take it an extra step further. They have everything on a breadboard. Now, you're trying to work in a professional environment. I would take that breadboard and from this project, I would move it onto Altium or KiCad and turn it into a real life PCB. And go ahead, after you turn it into a PCB, submit it straight to one of the PCB printing companies. Get your PCB back, solder your parts on there or pay them, but I highly recommend you solder yourself to get that experience. You solder it, and now not only do you have a radar system that you can present to the employer, you have a PCB that was attached to this antenna. So you're thousands of steps ahead of others who keep it on the breadboard. Now let's check out the modular system RF design. So this is next PowerPoint and showing you in more details how you have your transmit and your receive. And just looking at all of this, it brings a smile to my face because when you go to the corporate level, you're still looking at the same things, but 10 times, thousands of times more expensive. And the things you're using, you can see they're similar, but like a very, very cheaper version that we're seeing right here. So it's explaining everything that's going on. And you get all this resource for free, right? Back in 2011, all these students had to pay for it. But now you don't have to pay for it. You have all the resources that you need. Yes, today professors at MIT are teaching brand new discoveries, new methods, and things like that you still gotta pay for, but this will get you through the door. And that's all we need right now. Last but not least, synthetic aperture radar imaging. So they continue explaining more and more about your project. So you have all these slides to work on, develop your project, and present something to your employer whenever you get there. Especially if working at SpaceX as a Starlink antenna engineer, if that's your dream job, your dream company, then put your heart into it. Make sure you make something amazing because I guarantee you a lot of people don't take advantage of OpenCourseWare. A lot of people just base their job employments off their last engineering project in their senior design. And sometimes whatever you did in your senior design in college is not going to be what companies are offering jobs for. So you need to be able to adjust and pivot to where there's more jobs opening up in the sector. So whether that be you were interested in becoming a hardware engineer and most jobs are in embedded system or other fields, go ahead, pivot, go to OpenCourseWare, get a project that's in those fields, complete it, become a SME into it. A SME is a subject matter expert. So become the SME of whatever project you design because they're gonna ask you questions, promise you. Every interview you go into for electrical engineering, they're gonna look at what projects you put on your resume and then they're gonna ask you about it. And chances are, if you design a buck converter, the interviewer is gonna ask you about that buck converter. He's gonna ask you, hey, what type of buck converter did you use? Did you have decoupling capacitors in your buck converter? They can ask you what's the key components in your buck converter and why did you go with what you did versus other? What's the difference between yours and other DC to DC converters? What type of switching element did you use, MOSFET? They can ask you all types of questions on your project. So you want to make sure when you complete your project, you can go to ChatGPT or Grok AI and ask it, hey, if you're an interviewer asking me these questions, what questions would you ask me? And then it would ask it to you. Make sure you know those questions to kill the interview stage. So step 3, we finally made it to step 3. You want to use your resources in people and LinkedIn and who you know. At this point, you already have your project complete. You understand it to the fullest. Now, you want to maximize your connections that you have that are already electrical engineers. So whether that be your friends that you know, your LinkedIn connections, find those who work at companies that you want to work at. And if you don't have a degree, your number one goal probably won't be, it's much harder to get the electrical engineering role itself, but you can definitely pivot. A lot of people who are electrical engineers that don't have the degree started off as a technician. The company gained confidence in them and then they shifted them over. So that's one of the biggest way a lot of people get into electrical engineering. They would already be part of a company that works with electrical engineers. And that person just works with electrical engineering so much that, hey, you'll see people who drop out of those positions, but guess who's been working with all those electrical engineers all this time? You have, and you're able to make the jump over to that electrical engineering role. But because you don't have a degree, sometimes it makes it harder to get that pay that makes electrical engineering so scrumptious. So I'd advise anybody who doesn't have the degree, please try your best to get your degree. At least start it. So even if you're in college for your electrical engineering degree, it puts you at a higher chance of getting hired full-time because they know, hey, you're still in the process of getting your degree. Sometimes these companies will be like, hey, we'll hire you, but you must complete your degree by this time period or so on. So you find those connections that you have on LinkedIn or whoever it may be. The reason why I say this is because I don't want you to apply for these positions and use up your referrals, because a lot of times those referrals may get you a lot of interviews. And if you show up to the interview and you don't have a project done or anything like that, not only did you just ruin your referral interview, but you made your friend look bad. So you want to be well prepared when it comes to getting that internal interview. Next, step number 4. You want to interview like it's your job. If you've never had an electrical engineering interview before or anything for engineers, just go ahead and start interviewing. Even if you apply for a job that you weren't qualified for, show up to the interview and learn from it. You only gain experience as you hit each interview. When I first got my first electrical engineering job, it took me I had 4 interviews prior, and everything they asked me about my projects, I made sure I wrote it down, especially if I got stuck in any area. And a lot of times we finish projects, but it's been so long that we looked at it, our minds go blank. So all the questions that the previous interviewers asked me, I made sure I knew it to the T. I became the SME, the subject matter expert in my design. Everything wrote it down. By the time I had my final interview, I was killing it. Any question they asked me, bam. Next question, bam. Next question, bam. I was on top of it. Did the interviewer know that I just, struggled 2 interviews ago? No, but because I'm meeting him today and I'm prepared, I'm locked in, I got hired. So interview. Apply until you can't apply anymore. The economy is trash right now. So you're expected to apply more than regular people. So you better apply until every single company in the United States of America has seen your resume. And that's not happening because you're gonna get hired before that. I promise you. So to become an electrical engineer, you don't need to have a degree. Highly recommended. Makes your life 10 times easier. At least be enrolled in any type of electrical engineering course to show the company that, hey, you're on your way to get your bachelor's degree. They care about that more than anything. I don't care if you're taking 1 class a semester. They don't have to know that. They just need to know that you are enrolled and you have a graduation date set. And if you do have your degree already and you still haven't been able to find a job, use this as a resource. I know there's even people who it's been forever since they looked for a job, ever since they got their first electrical engineering job, and maybe now they got laid off, unfortunately. But this is how you pivot. You may have been working in one sector for so long and you're applying for jobs in that same sector and you're getting no invitation. By all means, do what I showed you. Go to MIT Courseware, go to OpenCourseware. Look up whatever you want to look for, and they offer thousands of resources here at your fingertips. But the only people who are going to benefit from it are those who are hungry to learn and be successful. So you should definitely use this as a resource. Please use this as a resource. And if you found a lot of value in this video, leave a like, share it with your friends that's trying to be an electrical engineer. And God bless you, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Jadabini TV is out.